No, I'm looking forward to talking to all of you tonight. But before we get started, I would like to do another shout out this week to my co-host Constantine, who is helping his mom recover from open heart surgery. I'd like to send out our prayers. If you don't mind taking a moment of time and including him, he will be back in a few weeks right here on the air with me. But until then, I have some wonderful guests joining me tonight. Specifically, Sayed Badreya joins me to discuss the ever so complicated situation in the Middle East as it continues to brew, and the Muslim Brotherhood, his native country, Egypt, and he hopes to give us some insight into the situation. And I don't know about you, but it's a very complicated and confusing issue for those of us in the United States, and I don't think that many people really understand the situation or what's going on. You certainly can't depend on the mainstream news that we're all watching at night to get the reality checks. It's very, very filtered, very censored, as we all know. Sayed is voted number 286 of the world's most powerful and influential artists and entertainers in the Arab world, according to Arabian Business magazine in 2012. He's an Egyptian-born filmmaker and actor, and he joins me tonight to discuss the politics at play in his native country, and he offers precious insight into the workings of the Muslim Brotherhood and why the Obama-backed administration is destroying the well-being of the Egyptian world by backing the current administration in Egypt as it is. He will share his rare, intimate view into the realities not portrayed in the U.S. mainstream media and unknown to the majority of American people. And we want to know just what our tax dollars are supporting in the Middle East. I mean, we send so much money over there. We really do. If you really research this, it should make you sick to your stomach to realize that we just are so ignorant to what really goes on in other parts of the world. And so what we're left to do is really make judgments based on what we're exposed to. And that includes what we find or don't find on the internet. It includes what we hear or don't hear in our news outlets, locally and nationally, along with social media. I mean, what can you trust? Who's telling the truth? There is so much, I believe, purposeful collusion and also chaos and confusion that creates a kind of whirlwind of activity in people's minds and consciousness that really creates a sense of, oh, geez, this is just so complicated. I just don't want to really understand this. Or once you start digging, you really realize that this is such an entanglement that happens on this planet with the governments at play. Why am I talking about this tonight? Because I feel that it's extremely important for people to understand the realities of what's happening in this world. Truth comes to us in all flavors, and we have to discern we have to discern what we're going to give our energy to, give our attention to, give our emotional energy to. And it's rare that somebody of Sayed's status in Hollywood would be able to step forward and talk about something like this. Sayed has been featured in major Hollywood films such as The Insider, Three Kings, and Independence Day, to name a few of the many. And he's attended New York University Film School. He then moved to Hollywood, worked in the film industry, first as an assistant to actor-director Anthony Perkins, and then with director James Cameron. And today he runs his production company, Zoom and Focus. Sayed is an exceptional person. I've known him for a few years personally, and I must say his character and his sense of humor are well worth understanding and listening to. So I hope that you will sit for the next hour and listen and share this with other people and spread it far and wide. I've been to Egypt twice in my life, and it's been life-changing for me. And anybody who's ever traveled to Egypt from any other country and has experienced the energy there and has gained some sense of spiritual enlightenment or otherworldly experience, whatever you want to call it, you have a kind of responsibility to give back to these sites, the places that the government, such as the Muslim Brotherhood, and the resulting effects of these ruins and these beautiful sites, such as the pyramid, Giza, and all of these things that are so special to us and so So we know, especially those who have been there, we know the power of them, and there's such change and revolution going on that we need to really understand and have a solid grasp on what's going on. So this is going to be hopefully an insightful show. It will give you a perspective that perhaps you wouldn't expect. And again, I commend Sayed for speaking up and for being who he is within the industry, within Hollywood. We often hear so much about it in the truth-seeking movement, in the alternative media movement, that this is a kind of dangerous, mind-controlled kind of place. But there are always people inside industries with good hearts and a good sense of consciousness that hope to change things from within. And I believe that Sayed is one of these people. So welcome, Sayed. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Valerie. How are you?
I am good. So why don't you give us a little background about your where you come from? I know you're from Port Said, and your connection to Egypt, and what exactly you're hoping to do here on the air tonight.
Well, we have to start by saying, we have to listen to my voice. I have a heavy accent, but I am speaking from the heart. So you have to close your eyes and open your heart, and close your ear and open your heart. And since I'm speaking from the heart, you're going to hear my heart, and you're going to hear it very well. I'm a product of war and peace. I grew up during the war in Egypt and Port Said. It's a Mediterranean and Suez Canal. So every war is always come to my city and always affect me. When I was a little boy, I had to hide from the bomb and go to the movie theater and watch movies. And I fell in love with America when I was a little boy, and I was telling everybody, I'm going to America. And everybody was laughing at me because the bomb was getting at was, bomb made by Americans. So when Sadat the peace with Israel, I was, in my early 20s. I was 20 years old, and I was lucky to come here because America opened their door to not only rich Egyptian, but regular Egyptian. And I came here and I studied, and I fell in love with America, and I'm an American. I always been American since I was a little boy. So America is not a place, it's a place of mine. And we sometimes forget how much as American culture influence young people all over the world. And we have to continue to remember that, because wherever we do, it influence generation of ghetto people grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto, and still fell in love with America.
Do you think that when you looking back on your life now, at your age now, do you feel that you may have been a little perhaps disillusioned after all these years, or do you feel that America has served you well?
Well, I love America. I love what it's made of, and I grew to it, and you grew up with the love of America, the movie and everything. Then you come here and you meet American people, because sometimes you hear about the American as the State Department, as the politics, and of course in the Arab world we don't like it. But when you come here and you meet real American, and I was lucky. I met American in Egypt, and that's why I am here tonight, because Egypt is not going to be the same. And if we're not doing anything about it, it will never be the same. We'll go back hundreds of years, and we'll be corrupted, and people will be devastated for not being able to go to Egypt and experience the Egyptian people and Egypt as a country.
Well, I can certainly attest to experiencing Egypt and its people, and it was a wonderful experience both times that I went. Now, when you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, give us a little insight into, what exactly is going on there. Are we seeing the truth in the mainstream news here in the United States?
Well, the problem, as everybody after Mubarak, we all was open for any change, and me. Along with a lot of people said, it's okay, you give the Muslim Brotherhood a chance. And it turned out, they've been in power for almost a year. The president, they control the parliament, the Congress, the Egyptian Congress, and they control everything. And now the problem is the Muslim Brotherhood like to take over the whole country, the whole society, and make it their agenda. Do you want to make Egypt as Muslim Brotherhood country? Muslim Brotherhood for 80 years they've been underground group, and they operate underground, so they are secretive. They've been in a lot of terrorist operation from their side. They killed a lot of people, but they are a secretive, very culty organization, and that's very difficult to govern that way, and to government as a closed society, because the Muslim Brotherhood bring, the Mubarak and Sadat and Nasser administration, they were underground, so you don't know who's in Muslim Brotherhood, and they are secretive, and they build a line by telling you who they are, who really they not are. So there's a lot of complication in knowing the Muslim Brotherhood. One thing is they will tell you anything, you will meet with them, they will have a contract with you, and the next day they can change it. The liar, you wouldn't trust them, and the problem, United States, they really didn't have much of a chance, because it make it easy by aligning with the Muslim Brotherhood. In the beginning it was okay, but now we have to make a chance. We have to give the Egyptian people a chance. You have to go, as American, we want to give the real revolution people, the young people who did the revolution, because the Muslim Brotherhood didn't come in the first couple of days of the revolution. They were hiding. They didn't want to be part of it. Then they started the revolution, and we have a connection with John Kerry. John Kerry had talked to them before the revolution. John Kerry then, talking with the name of Obama there with the Muslim Brotherhood as a senator. Now he's the point man for our State Department. The problem is they are destroying Egypt, politics and the fabric of Egypt. They are very hard on women. There are a lot of human trafficking. 9 years old people, just think for a second. In the Constitution, the people was writing Constitution. They want to allow 9 years old girl to marry an old man. That's how horrible their agenda is. It's very frightening, and I'm not going to stop until we get rid of them, because they are not talented. They've taken Egypt to really a bad place, economy, social, everything in Egypt is being destroyed.
Well, I find it very interesting that it's a secretive. I mean, I've been researching them in preparation for the show, and the fact that it's a very secretive organization reminds me of the Jesuits, and the fact that we just watched Pope Francis take hold of the Catholic Church, now we have the Muslim Brotherhood in this place of power. And what's happening, at least how I see it, is this kind of building of energy on both fronts to really claim an ideology that is associated with each of their own religions. And the tactics that are used to coordinate these kinds of things are very questionable, very deceitful, very secretive. And it's interesting that John Kerry was over there talking to the Egyptian government when he was a senator still, and then he became the Secretary of State, and now, we have this very unusual connection. So do you feel that the Muslim Brotherhood was allowed to come into power purposefully from perhaps, people behind the scenes?
Well, the Muslim Brotherhood had came to the revolution and talk to the young generation and, be in the square, in Tahrir Square, but at the same time they were doing a secret deal with the army. At that time, they were doing a secret deal with Israel and with Hamas and with Hezbollah and with America. And the United States know all that. The United States has brought hundreds of Muslim Brotherhood and trained them in Washington. So we have something really to worry about, because bringing the Muslim Brotherhood is not presenting Islam, because their dealing, their ideology is against everything Islam is about. They're lying every minute a day. They will stab you from behind your back. They will make a deal with the devil, and they will make a deal with you and turn around and sell you to the devil. So what you have to understand, that America has to understand that in the long run, Muslim Brotherhood is not after Egypt only. It's after Syria, it's after Hezbollah and Lebanon and Iran. And they open a communication for the 1981. When Sadat died, it was broke the relationship between Egypt and Iran. And today, the Muslim Brotherhood opening the relationship. So our problem is not today. Our problem is for generations to come, for American people to deal with Muslim Brotherhood and give them $1.2 billion a year, which makes them more stronger. Their budget with the police is sky high, and the country is going to death. And they don't have any money, but their police have new tanks, new equipment. I have to tell you, in January 26th this year, Muslim Brotherhood gives the order to the police in my city to kill people. They killed 32 people in the first hour, the first 2 hours of demonstration. We're talking about 32 kids dying, getting killed by sniper. 370 people got shot. They didn't die, but got shot. We're talking about war number. We're not talking about demonstration number. We're talking about war. In 1956, England and France came to invade Egypt and invade Port Said. In the first 2 weeks, no Egyptian, no 32 people was killed. So, rush the number. The Muslim Brotherhood is a brutal dictator. Morsi is brutal because the dictator is very mad man. And we're not going to see anything good coming out of the Muslim Brotherhood.
How do you see his perspective when it comes to Israel? You have the United States basically committing themselves in blood to Israel to the point of ridiculousness, and then you have the United States wanting to use Egypt as an ally, and this huge, gigantic upheaval of power regime throughout the Middle East. What is your thoughts on the goal ultimately to really uproot the leadership in the Middle East and to transplant it with democracy?
Well, it's going to take some time, because we did the easy thing. United States did the easy thing and aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood. Obama came in 2009 and asked the people in Egypt for freedom, and tell them about freedom and sell them what he sold us in 2008. And we believe in him, and the younger generation believe in him, and we had a great revolution. For 18 days it was a peaceful revolution. But the problem is, we didn't bank on the revolution. We bank on a group of fundamentalists. And what surprised me, which you should be surprised, the people attack us on 9/11. The same people align with the Muslim Brotherhood. So his first order of the day after he became a president, he released the people who killed Saddam. And the same people who killed Saddam is the same people that were 9/11. The same people align with the blind sheikh, Omar Abdul Rahman, that did World Trade Center 93. The same people who align with Ayman Zawahri and Osama bin Laden, who attacked us in 9/11. So he released them, and he brought the fundamentalists from Afghanistan, and now they live in China. So it's a matter of time he has the problem with Israel. Now he's aligned with Israel because he needs United States and he needs United States money. By when he gets the money and he doesn't need United States, he's going to attack Israel, and he's going to have a Muslim Brotherhood all over the place around Israel. I'm not defending Israel, but they are making deal with Muslim Brotherhood now, and they are happy. But in the future, they're not happy, because he heard him before calling the Israeli the son of AIDS and Dicks.
So you see a vision of drastic change coming down the road once everybody has gotten what they want, yes?
The world is not going to be a good place with the Muslim Brotherhood in power. Here is the thing: we have to export weapons to the Middle East. We export bombs to the Middle East. We export ideology of be powerful, you control. As Americans, we love our freedom, we love our culture. Why not export our freedom and export our value and export our love? American people, look into the Arab people and say, oh, they are a bunch of terrorists. Then the Arab people look to the American people and say, they're infidel, because we don't know each other. I'm here, the bridge between the two countries who I love very much. But you have to export the right message. You have to export the ideology of love and freedom and equal opportunity for everybody, especially for women. Women had a hard time in Egypt because there sexual harassment in the workplace, sexual harassment on the street, in the buses, in the demonstration by the Muslim Brotherhood.
It makes one think, I would hope, about the ever seemingly facade that's put on. I hear that you appreciate this country and that you love Egypt and you want to create a bridge and a vision of love. And I believe that the separation and divide tactics that have happened, especially since 9/11, have created this perception of the Arab person to be a threat. And in doing that, they have created, they being whoever, has coordinated all of this, they've created a kind of a level of hate and I believe in energy. You know that I work with energy. You understand me, even if you don't agree with me 100% on that. The energy that's created from the hate is a very powerful energy. And I know we weren't really specifically going to talk about this, but I also think that, with the Catholicism, the Pope taking over, the Jesuit order behind who is now in power in that particular religion is also going to be playing a very big part in how all of this works out. Because it seems to me that in that ability to create an illusion where one group of people or one race of people hates another, you have the ability to create fanatics within ideology, within religion, within people who believe differently, and that fanaticism creates a kind of extreme, we all see the fanatics. We all see the fanatics going up and blowing things up and taking their hate and their rage out in ways that are not peaceful, that are not really productive. How do you change that? How do you go against the PR, public relations, marketing type scandal that creates this kind of hyper mass-induced hypnosis to really believe that these people are bad, the religion is bad? Do you see it as a war of religion, or do you see it as a war of something else?
We got in away from what we believe. We have to believe in love, and we have to believe in giving love away. You're looking around today, if you go look around and you see the Muslim Brotherhood, and you said something about, the Pope, and you see North Korea or South Korea, wherever, you see there is a lot of power of negativity and power of hate coming out. And he attack us as people who love and everything, and if we don't put our hands together, the people who believe in good and the people who believe in great society for all mankind, if we don't put our hands together, we're going to get our butt kicked, and we're going to take, these people going to take power. I mean, in 1930 and 40, we allowed Hitler to do what he did. If we had stopped him earlier, we wouldn't see what he did, and we wouldn't suffer, and people wouldn't suffer, and we were slow. And if we slow and the Muslim Brotherhood, we're going to see what Hitler does by the Muslim Brotherhood and by the Korean and by so and so and so and so. So if we allowed the bad energy and the heat to get more powerful, we can't fight it anymore. And, 20 years ago, after 9/11, I was called by great American, Francis Ford Coppola. He asked, to have, a meeting with me, and I went, and he asked about the Muslim Brotherhood. He asked at that day, in 2011, the guy is unbelievable. He asked me about Sayed Badreya is the head of the Muslim Brotherhood in 1960. And he's the creator of violence inside the Muslim Brotherhood. And he asked about the Muslim, and he said, what we see coming. I said to him at that time, I said, the right wing of the Jewish state and the right wing of the Christian in America is being powerful. And since the right wing is getting powerful, the Islamic power, the right wing, which is the Muslim Brotherhood and the fundamentalists, then take over so they can have balance. So I know for a fact that the Muslim Brotherhood and the fundamentalists all over the Arab world, if we don't open our eyes, they cannot take power. And when they take power, we are all in trouble. Because they don't present real Islam. What presents real Islam, it's an Al-Azhar mosque, Al-Azhar college, which is being bombarded by the Muslim Brotherhood. This right to steal our religion, and Osama bin Laden did. This right to steal our religion and call everybody infidel.
Do you fear for speaking out on this? Do you worry about the repercussions on you and your career in Hollywood for using your platform to speak up on these matters?
I'm too old to be scared. I'm too good to be scared, because I believe in love, I believe in power, I believe in saying whatever I want to say. I am here for one time only, and one time I want to say I'm not against anybody. I'm for my country. I'm for my religion. So if they want to kill me because I love my country, if they want to harm me because I love my religion, why not?
Well, I commend you, and I was just watching a video. Roseanne Barr was speaking out on some of the things that were going on in the industry itself, in Hollywood, and on other various things. And it was interesting to hear. She said something along the same lines that, she had a successful career, which you have also, and that she was she was older, and she just was sick and tired of being quiet, and she wasn't going to sit around and say nothing, and she was going to say whatever she wanted, and if anybody had a problem with it, too bad. And I think that's refreshing. I think a lot of times we see people who just aren't willing to do that, and they have that power and pull to do so. Money really does change people, I think. So what is the solution to this? I mean, you talked about love, and you talked about bridging and understanding and bringing this sense, but as everything seems to be kind of moving into its own corner, getting ready for battle. I mean, we have Mr. Grouchy Boots over there in Korea who's throwing temper tantrums every day and threatening all kinds of things. What do you think can really stop this, or how do you think we can shift it?
American people, the people who are talking to now, the people, start with me and you, start with a couple of listeners and say, hey, we have to save Egypt. If you really love Egypt, if you really love, because Egypt is part of who we are, and not only as Egyptian, but as every other generation, because our heritage, our history. I mean, we as a young country, we don't have the history of Egypt, but the history of Egypt is our history as human beings, because we know that where we come from. And if we neglect saving what we come from, we're not going anywhere. So the people have to understand everyone has a voice and use that voice. And don't forget, I was against Mubarak before everybody else was against Mubarak. I was talking for a long time against his corruption and regime. I am in love with Sadat, and I grew up in Nasser time, but Sadat was a man of peace, and you go back, he's too young, but you go back and you think of the 1980s and how beautiful was the peace with Israel and Egypt. And there is no young generation had lost their life between Egypt and Israel because a vision like Sadat and Rabin of Egypt. So we need Mandela. We need a new Mandela. We need a new Kennedy. We need a new Gandhi. We searching for a man. I thought Obama will be that man. I thought Obama will take us to the promised land. I thought Obama will give us peace. I thought Obama will give us, all what he promised us. He promised us all that. We saw the trailer for Obama, and we went to the movie, and it's a different movie, and we lived for the past 5 years, and I don't know what to say. Competent? I don't know.
Well, I think you're not alone in that. There was many people who believed he was a kind of savior, that he would come and save us. And I'm a true believer that whoever you put into that position of power is really held and bound by invisible strings that we don't necessarily see, the military-industrial complex, corporations that come in, lining pockets, convincing people to do things.
Hillary, we don't need someone to save us. We need someone to lead us to the right place. We're not looking for savior. We had all this prophet before us, Muhammad and Jesus and Moses and Abraham. These guys wasn't great for themselves. They were great because they teaching us something. They teach us the minute we have our hands together for peace and for good energy, the minute we succeed. And if we allow people to use hate and to use, a weapon to kill people like the Muslim Brotherhood, killing my own friends in Sayed, I'm not happy with it, and I'm not going to stop. And I need everybody. Anybody listen to me. I need your help. I need your help. I need for you to talk to your Congress, your senator. I need to make phone call and say, stop aligning yourself with the terrorist group who are helping people who attack us on 9/11. That's so crazy that the people in power in Egypt now is the same people attack us on 9/11, is the same people aligned with the terror. That's crazy.
Well, I've been talking about that for years. It's not so crazy over here. I think my listeners have definitely done their homework on that subject too, but it's interesting to hear you say that, and it's interesting to give your perspective on that, especially considering how intimate you are with all of these particulars. So the last time you went to Egypt, Sayed, how was that for you? Did you go after that massacre happened in Port Said?
Yeah, I went to investigate the soccer match investigation. I mean, it turned out that was the Muslim Brotherhood hand in it, because they want to make the army look bad, and they had trouble with the Al-Taraf group, which is a fan of Al-Ahli from Cairo. So, they did what they did, and the investigation. And every day I find new thing, and I find new... Okay, let me set something for you people. In the beginning, first days of the revolution in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood didn't want to go out. Okay? The president of Egypt today, he was in jail. Him and the top people, the government, the top people in Egypt was at that time in jail. Okay? Remember Mubarak cut the internet and the telephone? So the Muslim Brotherhood called their best friend in Hamas, in Gaza, and in Hezbollah in Lebanon, and sent a troop, 500 strong militia, come to the jail, break the jail, get all the Muslim Brotherhood leaders out of the jail. And a year later, they control Egypt. That's a Hollywood movie. That's a beautiful aberration. To be in the jail, bring the revolution, and the Hamas and your goon come in and release you from jail and destroy 91 police stations to cripple the Egyptian police so they can take control. They did it. They're good at their aberration. They're good at violence. So we have to be good and defending our right, defending the love of Egypt and the love for the human being. I mean, today, people having hard time in Egypt for just gun revolution and someone else stole their dream. And I'm here asking you, help me to give the people of Egypt their dream back.
When we had the Arab Spring hit the United States, what did you think about that at that point?
I was with the revolution from here. Remember that Mubarak cut the telephone and the internet, and me and so many Egyptians outside of Egypt was the one linking the revolution and connecting the revolution. We went out and we talked to everybody in the media and newspaper and everything. I mean, without United States help, the revolution wouldn't succeed. Not that they didn't have their hand in it, but the media. For 18 days, we had the media telling people Egypt wants the revolution. And today, the media black out of what the Muslim Brotherhood doing to their own people. I don't believe, I'm not crazy about Fox, but Fox is the only people, telling the American people the truth about the Muslim Brotherhood. I did feel in love with Obama. I did love his agenda. I was inspired by him, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed that a man with his blood, the soul of Africa, not to feel for the people of Africa and allow the terrorist organization to control one of the best country on earth, one of the oldest country, the oldest civilization on earth, and destroy it. American, I'm here to ask you for help. Please help me to separate the world that the Muslim Brotherhood is not good for us.
Well, you're listening, and if you hear that call for help, you can certainly start by doing something as simple as sharing the archive to the show anywhere you can. You can have people listen in. I know Sayed's accent is very difficult to understand at times, but if you listen closely, you can hear a very powerful message. And it is one that does come from the heart, and it is one that is speaking up and out regardless of who he is or where he comes from, and he is doing it for very good reasons. One of the things that kept coming to mind when you were talking, Sayed, is kind of an image of Giza. You know how much the pyramids mean to me. They're very dear to my heart. And I kept seeing kind of a common thread for all people on this planet that's really rooted right there, that really emanates and resonates from that particular place. And so therefore we may think that Egypt is not necessarily our problem, perhaps, as people kind of go about their day and don't think much about it. But when you think about the energy that resonates from something as ancient as that, it really is setting kind of a vibration around the planet that really we all tap into, and we all do have a common ancestry. If we chase it back to those ancient times when the gods and the pharaohs were roaming the earth and doing what they do and resonating with earth. And we have to wonder, how did they all get along for so long? We can barely do it for a few decades. It seems like there always has to be some kind of instigation going on. What do you feel is going on with Korea, and how do you think this really ties in to what's happening in the upheaval in the Middle East?
Let's see the bad energy, but let's correct you a little bit, because this show gonna be shown to the Arabic people, and I'm gonna apologize for your accent, because you have an American accent and a heavy accent. So believe it or not, they need help understand you American. So I'm fine. I already had talked to your listener and told them over your heart you're gonna hear Sayed from their heart. The problem is I'm gonna make apology for you speaking like from New York. So stop attacking me. Start with love. Love me, so I love you back. No, Korea is the frustrated young kid. They want to do and bring back his father's legacy, and he want to do stupid thing. And I don't think we should be worrying about it, because I think it will be fine. I think it will be fine. If we have to really understand that every day of our life we have to do good. I mean, we don't have the luxury of letting our leader do the goods. All of us have to start to do the good. See, the time you wake up, the time you deal when you go buy your coffee, give a smile. Give a smile. Give a smile to your kid. Just hug him more tighter. Kiss him more. get your, your family, your family member, your husband, take the time to look in his eyes. Take the time to look to your wife eyes. Take the time to do good. That's the only thing. My message here is take the time to do good, because if we're not going to be able to succeed, we're going to ruin our life, and our life worth nothing without taking our best, and our future depends on our best. And Egypt is your best. Egypt, where you come from. I know you're born here, but your history starts in a place called Egypt. Protected with me, protected for all your generation, protected for your own kids. Someday when they stand in front of the pyramids and the Sphinx and say, yeah, we protected for the new generation to come.
Wonderful words. It makes me remember a time when I was standing on the bridge over the Nile in the middle of Cairo at night, the full moon up above, and I felt a kind of sense of balance between the ancient world and the modern world, and coming to peace with that and finding a sense of love. And I will never forget that moment. And so as we kind of carry on with Sayed's message, and we listen to him, and we hear his words, and we share his words, and we think about that, we have to wonder what we can do in our own lives in order to be able to be that bridge between the old and the modern, the ancient and the quote civilized world. I have a great picture that I've downloaded recently, and I'll see if I can post it on my blog for all of you. It was a beautiful picture. A group of Russian people had climbed to the top of one of the pyramids at Giza and had taken a spectacular photograph of the city on the edge of Giza, and you could see a very distinct line that was drawn between the ancient world, the memory of the ancient world, and what still holds there, and the modern world creeping in. And I don't think it'll ever really get in any further than it has, but it makes you think. So, Sayed,
there is a better picture. Before you leave, there is a better picture. I saw a picture of you and like 50 Egyptian kids surrounding you, want to touch you, and you want to have their hand on you. And it's one of the picture I look at, and my heart filled with love, because here is a blonde, beautiful American, tall, woman, and all this dark-skinned kids in their, what do you call, 5, 6, and 9 years old surrounding you. It's one of the beautiful pictures around, because, Hillary, I came to the show because, I respect you, I respect what you do, and I respect the energy you give, and I know from that picture that I was there. I was 10 years old, and I used to go around, in Egypt, because both sides and the Mediterranean Sea and Suez Canal, and we used to see this blonde, beautiful woman, and I fell in love with that woman. And I used to stop by and try to touch her to see if her skin like our skin, if her hair like our hair, because she feels alien to us. But I fell in love with the movie and American, and I fell in love with the American woman. And you guys have so much to give, so give back, and remember, without love, hate will succeed.
That's true. That's very true. And thank you for reminding me of that picture. That was a wonderful experience. We're coming to the end of the show. We have about 5 minutes left. And it actually had happened at 2 different places, at 2 different temples down towards Luxor. And there was this fabulous group of school-age kids that would there had to be about 50 of them, would just run up and they would surround me, and it was just phenomenal, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't have candy or anything to give, and it was just wonderful. And I think that was really telling of the heart, the children's heart, and it reminds me to talk a little bit about briefly, the child and the generations that are coming up, and what we're teaching them, and what kind of example we're holding for them as we allow the state of the world to be the state of the world. We have to remember that the kids are going to inherit this And it's really our responsibility to teach them that love so that they don't grow up with that hate in their heart. It will change them. You take that innocence of a child and you warp it into something that's perverse or different or change. You really end up changing the world. And I think the Egyptian children are one of the most innocent, most beautiful, pure things I have ever experienced in my life. And it goes to show that no matter where you are, your children are these inheritors, and we have to really teach them how to be responsible, how to be kind, how to forgive, how to be able to see the better in people versus judging and really condemning people to a life of, or to a sentence of something less than that pure love. So Sayed, in closing, I know you've given us a tremendous amount of insight and lots of stuff to think about, but in closing, the last few minutes of the show, what do you really want that message to be to the younger generations?
Well, it's decent. It's decent. I mean, we have to all work together. I mean, I'm a student of history, and if you look to the life of Abraham Lincoln, when the White House, he brought all his enemies, political enemy, to become part of the cabinet, meaning work with everybody for the great goods of America. Work with everybody for the great goods for our children. Take your time to give love, and take your time. Don't forget to take some love. And I'm asking everyone to hear me and hear this. I'm really your grandfather, and you're really grandfather. I'm the guy, and your grandfather, he came from the old country with the heavy accent, but beautiful heart. I am your grandfather. I'm asking you for help. Save your old country. Save Egypt. And thank you for giving me this opportunity, Hillary, and I buy you dinner when you come to Los Angeles, and thank you very much.
Well, thanks for being here so much. We've appreciated it. Well, all of you listening, in closing, it's something that we really just need to take some time on, and I'm going to spend a few minutes now that I have a couple minutes left in the show to talk about the fact that it really does come down to hate or love. It's a choice. It's a simple choice. It's a choice that we make every day, with every gesture, with every moment that we speak to other people or our actions towards other people. How many times do people really come to you trying to make peace or trying to say you're sorry, and you turn them away because you don't want to let them into your heart? It's a kind of tactic that we need to learn to be able to really truly forgive people and allow them to be who they are without judging them, and to come into a state of love and peace and understanding, and so we can thrive. I was reading this fascinating article just this morning, actually, about the fact that when a couple, a man and a wife, have a loving relationship, they're in a relationship, when they sit about, so far apart, their heartbeats and their breathing start to actually coincide with each other. So their hearts will begin to beat the same, their breathing will begin to be the same, and the physiology within their body begins to change. And when they took these 32 couples and switched them with different partners, it didn't have the same effect. It was always when they went back to each other in that bond of love, where they were able to communicate with their biological bodies in a way that actually started to change their physiology. This is a state of being that we're being asked to understand, to comprehend, and to share with one another, yet whether we're in a relationship or not. A state of love does not have to just be between a committed couple. It's a state of understanding. Good night, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. Sayed, I always enjoy talking to him. I think he had a lot of wonderful points for all of us to take. Be well, everyone, and until next time, namaste.